morning, afternoon, evening, depending on where and when you're watching this, and for this week's video I have decided to draw my life for you guys. So I was born on July the 28th, 1993, which happened to be a Wednesday that year. According to the nursery rhyme, Wednesday's child is full of woe, and I personally think my parents should have taken that as an omen, but believe me, we will get to that soon enough. So when I was born, I was a really fat baby, and I had lots and lots of jet black hair. I weighed so much that I was 8 pounds and 12 ounces, which could not have been easy to give birth to, so sorry mum. When I was born, the drama began immediately. I had the umbilical cord wrapped around my neck twice, so I came out of my mum blue. My dad said that he knew this meant I was going to be a Rangers fan. Typical guy, right? I was also a very crying-faced little baby. I used to cry at anything, and for some reason I was really moany around my gran, which doesn't make any sense to me because later on in life me and my gran were absolute best friends. However, I could also be a really cheery little girl. Whenever I get taken out in my pram, I used to shout hello to everyone that I passed. It ended up one day that this teenage guy had to come up and ask my mum if it was me because he wasn't sure if it was maybe one of his friends. It was me. When I got a little bit older and started learning how to walk, my granddad on my dad's side noticed that I was walking with a little bit of a limp. I don't think my parents really thought much of it at first, but they took me to the doctor anyway, and I was referred to hospital to get more tests done. This was when it was discovered that I had been born with something called congenital hip dislocation. Basically, this means that I was born without my right hip socket. Don't ask me how that happened, we have no idea. While we were waiting to see what was going to happen with the surgery for my hip, I fell out my cot one night and this triggered something off in my body that made me insanely ill. My parents took me to the hospital again, and this is when they received the worst news. At this point in my life, I was diagnosed with something called bilateral Wilms tumour. To put that into simpler terms, I was diagnosed with a very rare type of children's cancer which attacks the kidneys. I went from being this really happy and energetic little girl to an incredibly poorly sick little girl with hardly any energy at all, and I lost all of that jet black hair. My mum says that one day she was putting my hair up into a ponytail for me, and the next minute the entire ponytail just came away in her hands. I don't remember this because of how young I was, but it must have been really horrible. The size of the tumour I had inside me was the same size as a football or a soccer ball, which amazes me that something that big could fit inside such a teeny tiny little girl. In the end, I had to have my left kidney removed entirely and half of my right one, so today I survive with only half of a kidney. That's it. While in the hospital, I used to love watching this programme called The Singing Kettle, and that looks nothing like a kettle, it looks like the monster from Insidious. Oh dear. Anyway, it always cheered me up, and I watched a lot of Disney like Mary Poppins and Peter Pan. These made me feel ever so slightly better. As I got older and went into remission, the surgery for my hip began, and I was in a wheelchair for a total of 9 months. At Halloween that year, my mum dressed my coach up in lots of tinsel and glitter and turned it into Cinderella's carriage, so I went as Cinderella that year. It was pretty awesome. Jumping ahead now to 2005, which was the year I started high school. Dun dun dun. High school was pretty rough for me in my first few years. In my very first year of school, I was waiting at the bus stop to go home one day when this guy in my year who I didn't know threw a carton of soup all over me in front of everyone. It was absolutely mortifying, and after that I got bullied a lot because of it. In my second year of high school, the girls that I hung around with pulled me aside one day and told me that none of them actually liked me. They said everyone in the group had a best friend except for me, so I was nothing but a little tag-along. This was the point where my mum seriously considered homeschooling me. However, in my third year of high school, I noticed a flyer for auditions for our school show, which was called Back to the 80s. I couldn't sing to save myself, but I figured by this point I had nothing to lose by auditioning. I couldn't believe it when the cast list was finally announced, and my name was up there as one of the main characters. I can honestly say this was the first time in high school that I felt truly happy, and I had no idea how much my life was going to change because of this. I went from being this really sad and quiet girl with no friends whatsoever to a new confident me. The cast really took me under their wing, and I ended up with more friends than I could count. Some of these people I'm still really close friends with to this day, and I can honestly say that those shows changed my life for the better, and I will always be grateful to them for it. At the audition for Back to the 80s, I met a girl called Michaela who was 3 years below me in school, and we soon became best friends. A few years later we started up our own YouTube channel, and we would post the most ridiculous videos. We did vlogs, some music parodies and normal parodies, including a Twilight one, which, trust me, you don't want to see. It's bad. We got a total of 36 subscribers and we were so happy with this. Those videos are still up somewhere. It was at this point I started watching more and more YouTubers more regularly, and I discovered that people actually made a living out of making YouTube videos. This was something that I found so amazing, and I really wanted to become a part of it with my own channel, but I never really had the confidence to go for it. That, of course, is up until the start of this year when I finally took the jump and I set up my very own YouTube channel, and I decided to name it after a childhood nickname that I was given, Nicolina Vlogs. At this point, I've been on YouTube for 4 months and I have 82 subscribers, which is insane because I didn't think I'd get one. So, where am I now, you may wonder? Well, I'm 3 years out of high school, thank the Lord. I'm 18 years in remission from cancer. I am still in the process of trying to make my dream of becoming a successful actress come true. I'm travelling as much as the world as often as I can, and I'm also trying to make my YouTube channel grow, which would be totally awesome. Most importantly though, now in my almost 21 years of life, I can honestly say that I am truly happy and healthy, which I think is the most important thing. Thank you all so much for watching. I love you guys very much, and I will see you in the next video.